See some of these photos, some of these stadiums? Jacksonville, Houston, man. And now the networks are not televising the anthem. ESPN and who was it? ESPN, Fox, they're not going to televise the anthem. That's only going to tick off the players. Anyway, great to have you here, folks. So we kick off a brand new week of broadcast excellence. Rush Limbaugh, as always, here at 800-282-2882. And the email address, lrushbaugh@eibnet.us. So this is kind of funny. A number of the media people and some Democrats are now beginning to suggest, and it's coupled with a little bit of concern and worry, that the Harvey Weinstein stuff is being overplayed, that the media is spending too much time on it, that we're now into repetition, and there's nothing new to see here, and so it's nothing more than gratuitous to keep doing this. And the poor man, let him lay, or what have you. And I just want to remind everybody, 1 year ago this week, this is still October. You know, we're coming up on the anniversary of the election. I know it seems like the election was longer ago than 1 year, but we're not yet to the 1 year anniversary. I just want to remind, how many people remember 1 year ago this week, Barack Hussein Obama issued a permit, Hollywood tape, on a giant screen on the national lawn, 24/7. Do you remember that? You don't remember that. That's why I'm host and you are on the other side of the glass. Do you remember this, Mr. Snerdley? You do. Folks, this was huge. It was during the campaign, and remember, this was the October surprise, the Access Hollywood tape. This was it. This was going to be what doomed the Trumpster. We're allowed to play on a giant screen on the National Mall, 24/7, a loop of the Trump Access Hollywood video. Of course, it was senseless because everybody in Washington already hated Trump. They weren't going to be persuading anybody. Here's the New York Daily News on October 6th. Trump's Access Hollywood tape is playing on a loop on the National Mall in D.C. A large screen has been playing Trump's scandalous Access Hollywood tape on a loop in the National Mall on Washington on Friday after it was placed there by a women's advocacy group. And now we have to back off a bit. Mrs. Clinton can't help you. It's funny, she's been doing interviews all over the place, not looking good, sorry to notice, but you can't miss it. I mean, it is what it is, right? Well, my husband, that's in the past. We have a sexual predator in the White House right now. As to how the Democrats and the media and the left are now going to transition out of the Harvey story and have it become, they're going to try to make it the Trump story, have it segue from Harvey to Trump. Rehab in Arizona, that isn't Trump next. This is what they're going to try. It isn't going to work. They've got to be frustrated as all get out. Nothing they are trying, nothing they have tried is working. And if they keep reviving things that are variations of all of their tactics that exist in their playbook, they're going to continue to bomb out. Speaking of which, Trump continues. Last week, I mentioned this on Friday, and I didn't spend enough time on it. I mentioned it precisely why he was elected. And his week last week, not just in blowing up all of the Obama legacy, and the drive-bys are caterwauling about this. Trump is going to kill people. People are going to die. Even though all that's happened here is that Trump has inserted the rule of law in this. Federal government subsidies and paybacks to insurance companies for premiums for poor people was unconstitutional. It says so. He simply said it's unconstitutional, and I am issuing an executive order here that removes these subsidies, and knowing full well that it could not sustain itself as written. And so Obama immediately began issuing executive orders that consisted of waivers for donors and other Democrats. They were given waivers from the stifling circumstances imposed by Obamacare. And the second thing, these subsidies that the insurance companies were offered, which both of these things that Obama are unconstitutional, but that's not the point. Well, it is the big point, but the primary point is that the law as written could not sustain itself. The law as written doomed Obamacare financially, politically. It did not have legs. There was no solid foundation. So Obamacare now back within the confines of the rule of law, whereby and wherein it will implode. And my buddy Andy McCarthy had a great piece at National Review Saturday pointing out, essentially, that this is how you kill Obamacare. You keep it within the confines of the law. Without Obama's executive actions and orders, which set the law and the Constitution aside. So what Trump has actually done here, now Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats are running around screaming bloody murder, that this is going to be cold-hearted and mean-spirited to the poor and everything. It was insurance company bailouts, but by making it legal. We don't need the Republicans to pass legislation. We don't need the Senate to pass legislation, House or Senate. The law itself will implode and crazy law have been eliminated. Isn't that fascinating? That's all it ever took. But Trump and the Democrats, Chuck and Nancy, and Mitch and Paul, to see if they could come up with a compromise legislative that would do all this. But they couldn't. Now, people are also caterwauling, Trump can't do this, he can't do this, it's Obama. Yes, he can. He can dismantle everything Obama did by virtue of executive order. Obama couldn't get probably 75% of his agenda if it required legislation. That's why Trump has totally blown up the Obama legacy on climate change. Deal. In 1 week, folks, it was profound. It was exactly why Trump was elected. Whatever Obama did, legal or not, was good and was supportive and should have never been challenged. And whatever Trump is doing is absolutely wrong and incorrect. By the way, I finally heard, and I can't remember who it is, but I felt so validated because somebody pointed out, it was Michael Goodwin. That's who it was at the New York Post. He was on Fox and Friends today. He was talking, and he pointed out something that I have been saying for months now, that we don't get news anymore, that what the news is nothing other than the advancement of the Obama agenda, the protection of the Obama agenda, or the destruction of Trump. It's a combination of those things, but they're talking about it within the context of the only thing news media is doing is criticizing Trump. They are not analyzing any Trump proposal, any Trump policy, are not saying one thing good about anything Trump is doing, and as such, there is no news anymore. Has been dealing with Trump, but I felt really validated by that. Now, there's one. We've had Obamacare, the Iran deal, climate change, and now another aspect of Obama's legacy is being undone with Bob Bergdahl pleading guilty to desertion. It seems like it was only yesterday that Susan Rice in the Obama regime was hailing Bergdahl as a hero and attacking anybody who would dare question his record or complain about the lives lost trying to recover him, or even complain about giving back to the Taliban 5 of their top leaders for a deserter, singing the praises of a military deserter. And Trump, while this was happening, was blasting Bergdahl, who once again, Trump is turning out to have been right from the start. And ladies and gentlemen, before we hit the break, I need to announce that I have been the recipient